13 years on from the Yellow Peril, and where do we stand with public art in Australia? Are we ready to accept anything more daring than Rodin's Burghers of Calais? Well, this is the point of this place here. It's a sculpture park at Macquarie University in Sydney, and sculptors have been invited to play some of their pieces, to improve the landscape, and maybe even sell a piece or two.
At first, the university population mistakenly thought that these sculptures were being all paid for by the university. And it took quite a lot to convince them that the sculptures were all lent. They were not paid for. The university certainly has come to the party to help with the installation, and they've done a great job. Sculpture is very expensive to make, and you work on it for a long time. You can't just dash off a sculpture of any worth. So we need to have corporate sponsorship. So we need to sell the work, in other words. We need to have a market.
Sculpture is the most economical of all art forms. You don't need ticket sellers like the opera. You don't have little clerks, booking clerks. You have a piece of rock and the sculptor. There is absolutely no wastage. And the piece, if it's made in bronze or stone, will last 15,000 years. It is absolutely the most economical art form there is.
Hopefully sculpture begin to find its way back in to the mainstream. And look at it in history, it was on the churches, it was in the piazzas, in every phase of the development of all of our cultures. You know, sculptures had a place.
Did you find it a bit disappointing that students were at first antagonistic to sculptures?
No, I'm not disappointed. People are naturally sceptical about something that they don't understand. But I must say, 12 months later, the sculptures are almost 100% accepted. It gives me great pleasure to see students leaning against sculptures while they're having their lunch or studying.
There's a lot of expectations that people ought to use sculpture because it's a thing in the world. And I think this might come closer to the heart of some of the issues. Sculpture is a painting, if you like, is the illusion of something. So it creates its own world in a safe place on a flat canvas on the wall. Sculpture is a thing that exists in the same world as furniture and people. So it's a much more tangible thing, and people actually seem to confuse sometimes the idea that because it's a real thing in the world, it has to be of some use.
What people like this have in common is not sculptural form or even an arts manifesto, but just a strong belief that if they don't do something for their own art form, that no one else will, and opportunities for Australian sculpture will vanish.
The fact that a great deal of sculptors in Australia have reached very high levels of excellence and still being denied, I think is a little sad. And hopefully people will see more clearly in time.
I'd like to see sculpture parks spring up all over the place. There are some, but I'd like to see them all over the place, particularly in the city, where people can walk around them and touch them and enjoy sculpture as they enjoy music. Sculpture is like music, but for the eyes and the feel.